Okay, since we are talking short form video, this is going to be a short form panel discussion, okay? We're going to move really fast, right? Okay, because we've got lots of content to go through. But the first question I'm going to ask you is a very interesting stats just now, right? You know, how do you think the pandemic has changed marketers' thinking on sales and marketing? Tej, we begin with you.
Yeah, I think when the pandemic began, we saw a massive digital transformation happening, right? 2-3 year digital transformation plans shifted into a month or 2 months. So 2 clear opportunities emerged. The first opportunity is how can brands engage with communities on the digital platform? And you see with TikTok, we have very unique communities. So if you ever purchased a book recently, you'll see something called as Book Talk. And Travel Talk is a community online which has 3.5 billion views. So the second opportunity was the rise of short format videos, and travelers wanted to be entertained through short format videos. So you especially saw a lot of travel distribution happening through live streams, right? And this was really unique because right now we started seeing videos not being created as high production, very curated videos, but what we call in TikTok as flawsome videos, like very authentic kind of videos. So I was talking to Kathleen.
Like grunge videos.
Not grunge, but just behind the scenes view. Like I was talking to Kathleen from my airlines yesterday, and she showed me her TikTok page, and it was pretty wonderful, you know. Behind the scenes, how an airline startup, people want to consume that kind of authentic content.
Right.
So these are the changes that immediately happened in the pandemic, and these are the opportunities and challenges that marketers have.
Right. And Trevor, what, from your perspective, former airline, and your former hospitality as well, interesting, what have you observed?
I think it's all about indirect and direct still. So I was under the bonnet of many different sort of companies over the last sort of 2 or 3 years. And you've got this drive to want to be direct, obviously cheaper cost of sale. You have that personalization, you can upsell. There's a lot of players out there that are tied to legacy systems and they can't move away quick enough or fast enough. There's a want to do it, but it's always quite hard. So LCCs are seen as the trailblazers. That's kind of part because they didn't have to sort of sign up to the legacy systems. So again, it's direct and indirect. Drive people direct to your website, cheaper costs, more personalization.
So LCCs were the trailblazers, say, 20 years ago, right? When AirAsia came in and you were Scoot and you guys did a lot of social and direct customer acquisition, right? Who are the trailblazers today, post-pandemic?
Airlines or general?
Anyone, any travel player. Who are the trailblazers post-pandemic that you've observed?
Trailblazers in the pandemic. I'd like to think it's still the airlines. Wherever you're looking at like the new startups, and again, someone showed a slide the other day of about 10 airlines in the Asia Pacific. The real number is about 100 new airlines have started up in the last 2 years. So you've got the Bonzers down in Australia, you've got My Airline. They're going to have to compete against AirAsia. Bonzer's going to have to compete against Jetstar as well. So they're going to have to do something different and shake up the market in a different way. And can they do it like Scoot did? Scoot was quite young and colourful and very different from Singapore Airlines. And for those first 1 or 2 years, Singapore Airlines really looked down on us. It was like that bright yellow cheeky thing. And we got in a lot of trouble. Campbell probably told you some of the stories. We got in a lot of trouble for some of the social that we did as well. But it grew our brand. So I think it's the new startups, they try and push the new edge.
So we're going to see some great trailblazers coming out of the pandemic, right? And so we talk about the shifts. Let's talk about the shifts that you saw in your area of expertise. And you say that, you know, TikTok is a place where people take a trip before deciding if the trip is worth taking. So talk to us about that.
So we've seen great consumption of travel content on TikTok, right? People want to take the trip on TikTok before they decide where to take the trip. And this kind of content is being brought to us by creators in the travel arena. So there's a massive creator economy in place. Communities are engaging with creators on a daily basis. And brands right now also want to engage with creators in order to bring their message across. Creators can best translate the brand message to their communities. So we've seen communities coming up very strongly on TikTok. And we've seen creators being used by brands in order to bring their message to the wider audiences on TikTok.
If we can have that first slide, I think it shows like a billion monthly active users on TikTok right now, right? Okay, so you got lots of creators coming on and lots of users on TikTok. Jerry, if we could have that slide, please, Okay, so
Yep.
there you go.
So
okay.
earlier this year, we reached a billion monthly average users on TikTok. The scale is growing across Southeast Asia as well. This was a big benchmark for us. But basically, it's validation of how much time, how engaging people find TikTok as a entertainment platform.
Right. Trevor, are you on TikTok?
No, I probably should be. Actually, I am. I was about 3 weeks ago as well when we knew we were doing the panel together. I think I'll probably be closer to it as my kids grow up as well, so make sure I know what they're up to.
Yeah. So can you talk about the shifts that you've seen, during the pandemic? Because, Sojern has this sort of bird's eye view, right?
Yeah.
And Michael was saying that he's seeing brands going up further up the funnel. So let's talk about the shifts. And let's go to the next slide from Trevor.
Yeah, so I think the best way for trying to explain shifts, if you take a step back, in the digital advertising world, it's always been about offline to online. And I think the online is now about 60% of spend, 800 billion market as well. That's been in the market for a decade or more now. That's not big news. What we've seen is hoteliers, airlines, etc. They've gone from fits and starts, trying to sort of go, if I'm an airline, I know my low point is here, I'm going to mark it, because people book 2 months before on this route, I'll mark it here. So you go from fits and starts to always on approach. And then you can top up with your fits and starts if you wish as well. Then it's the selective funnel to the full funnel. I think all the marketers in the room know that the awareness through to sort of prospecting and conversion as well. So there's been a lot of, and this is the global players, the regional players, the boutique hotels, property level. They've gone from selective funnel, I have to aim at awareness. I have to go to conversion. They've gone to sort of full funnel. Now, as I'm saying this is getting complex and more complex. You see the little chart on the right in terms of how to activate across channel. You've got some walled gardens there that are very hard to sort of navigate around. And lastly, you've got the single channel activation to multi-channel. So again, the ideal campaign now is all across all of the funnels, across multi-channels, gives you the best results. But it gets pretty complex, pretty quickly, and you need some very clever and technical savvy people to do that.
Highly complicated. I kind of like the unexpected, the 3 bits. Are they unexpected to you, Tej?
Yeah, I think the unexpected portion is that slide's missing a logo.
All right, let's not go there for now, Trevor.
Watch that one for the future, I think. So the unexpected for me as well in Sojern, if I select programmatic for a second, everyone goes to display first. That's what most of the clients do, whether they know it or they don't. Native is seeing quite a big increase in the last kind of couple of months. Taken an airline that's based in Singapore, they started on digital. As it opens up, they're spending more. They tried native. It's delivering better results. Even better results when you do native and display at the same time as well. So native is kind of sort of working its way up that channel. A bit more expensive to buy, but it's performing very well.
Okay. All right, so we talk about, we need to show use cases, right? So let's talk about what works and what doesn't, and let's go to Tej. This is what Tej shared with us as to something that works. So let's go to the next one. Yeah.
So this is.
Let's play the video.
So this is UAE Media Office, which is working with us to basically showcase the world's coolest winters, and they happen to be in UAE.
It's so interesting, right? The world's coolest winter, UAE.
Yeah, so they wanted to do something different. They wanted to do it in a challenge format. So we have this very unique feature called a hashtag challenge, where we engage the communities on TikTok. And this one, I love these creators. This is Khalid and Salama. And these creators actually showcase unique points of view in UAE and how you can be in world coolest winter by traveling to UAE. And this ad actually did great results. It saw about a 25% uplift in awareness, and almost everybody loved this ad.
All right, and the next one, somewhere closer to home. Let's get to the next one. Okay, there we go.
สงกรานต์เนี้ยต้องได้สาดน้ำน้ำตาพอวันนี้ต้องออกวันเที่ยวแห่งชาติวันนี้ต้องออกไปสาดความสุขเพราะเวลโลกาลด
So yeah, this is for our Thai native speakers. I can't translate it right now, but what I can tell you is
AI would be able to translate that for us in future.
Of course.
Immediately, yeah.
So we reach 5.6 million high intent audience. The feature here is we actually Traveloka wanted to do a Songkran campaign to showcase hotels during Songkran. So we actually filtered down high intent audience with our collection ad features in the TikTok environment and then sent high intent audience down to Traveloka.
Okay. And Trevor, you also have a case study to share with us, if you can share that.
Yes, indeed. I have the okay to share this from Marriott, guys, so don't worry. So this slide is actually all about the old adage of showing the ad in front of the right person at the right time, in the right place, on the right channel. We've all been there, we've heard that for a long time. And Sojern having thousands of data partners allows us kind of to see what Marriott cannot on their own, or an airline cannot on their own as well. And I won't read the numbers there, you can see, but this is all about that multi-channel marketing engagement all the way across the path to purchase. So when they start thinking about dreaming where they're going to be going, and you're driving awareness through to the planning and consideration, because again, people will bump around. Just because you're a Marriott Bonvoy high-level membership doesn't mean you're not looking at Hilton, you're looking at the others as well. So it's about that whole path to purchase, and Sojern helping you understand, put the ad in front of the person at the right time in the right place. And again, don't need to read the numbers there, but some awesome numbers, and obviously Marriott are global with us and hugely regional, all the way down to property
level. How much
level.
did they spend on this?
Can't tell you that.
Okay, so I'm taking questions as well, right? Remember 96924989. I'm sure that you have lots of questions. So now, talking about destinations, right? You know, I like how destinations actually post-pandemic try to challenge our perceptions of a destination, because this is the best time to do it, right? You know, and I feel like maybe Singapore's done it, Thailand is trying to challenge our perception, and clearly UAE with the coolest winters. Have you seen any, interesting destination marketing? Who's been like the most aggressive and creative?
Yeah, closer to home, of course, it's STB, right? So Singapore Tourism Board works extensively with us. This is during peak pandemic. STB still wanted to catch up on pent-up demand. They wanted to do something fun and engaging with us. So we activated a branded effect with them. And what you see over here is a very gamified experience of actually, on the background, you have Jewel, you have the beautiful staircase on Fort Canning, and people can actually immerse on that experience, get their picture taken, and you actually saw about 8.5 million people viewed these videos, and over 1 million people actually engaged with this particular branded effect.
Right.
So very gamified, very, very different, highly engaging, and this is during pandemic where you can't actually travel.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not able to track, like, of that 1 million, like how many actually kind of book a trip to Singapore, right?
So the purpose for this was very different.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to keep engaging, even during the pandemic when the timelines were not clear.
Right, okay. And Trevor, I mean, you worked with the airline before, so I'm going to throw that to you. Have you seen any interesting collaboration between the tourism board and an airline, that's addressing a particular segment of travelers?
Sure. So I think collaborations between sort of tourism bodies and airlines isn't a new thing. It happened way back when I was at EasyJet in the UK as well. So tourism's going to benefit if somebody gets on a plane and come over. And the tourism board will know that everybody who lands is going to spend X amount, so you can multiply the numbers up. So that's very normal. What we've seen at Sojern as well is as the travel bubbles in Asia, let's ignore the US and Europe for now, as the Singapore bubble opens up, Singapore Tourism Board are getting more confident. Obviously the capacity from Singapore Airlines and Scoot is almost back to normal by the end of the year. Then it was followed by Australia. So you've got Australia, for example, Queensland, New South Wales, even the Northern Territories are kind of working with the local airlines to sort of help drive. So they call them tripartites. It's quite normal for a DMO. And one we can talk about is Singapore Airlines, Air New Zealand. It's the same alliance. And the tourism bodies such as Queensland, they'll pool their money. They have a bigger reach.
Right.
So that's quite normal that's happening. And it's happening more frequently. And what we're seeing is as the other markets start to open up, the Thailands, the Philippines of the world, they start to dip their toes in the water and spend.
Right.
And what we're seeing as of about 2 weeks ago, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, those bubbles are about to expand as well. We're all still waiting for the China one to burst.
So you're seeing lots of activity there
Yeah,
now.
it's a nice time to be in the industry because it's all the work's coming to us in a sense, which is nice.
Okay, so, in the previous presentation, there were talks about different market segments, and we've talked about in this conference too, is the luxury, the urban traditionalists, the eco-minded traveler, and the remote value seekers. And we've seen low-cost airlines trying to target the luxury travel, which is quite interesting. Right?
Yeah. I mean, going back a while ago, as an LCC, you go, I don't want to target the luxury traveller. They're going to go on the full-service carrier and business class. It's not my market. What's known quite well for a lot of people now, or I think a lot of people relate if you've got families, is you'll travel on business, that's fine if the company's paying for it. I'm now going down to Sydney from Singapore. I'm now taking my family of 4. For business, that's very expensive. So
yep.
They will travel down on an LCC, and they'll spend a lot more on the hotels.
Well, they have to, because hotel rates are so expensive these days. But so let's go to the new target segment, which is digital nomads as well. We heard from Airbnb yesterday. I think Michael mentioned it earlier too. Yeah. Have you seen marketing that's targeted at digital nomads specifically?
My context is that we do have high value and high ticket marketing. So there are OTAs, there are hotels trying to engage this customer segment, but the size of this audience is still uncertain. When you're targeting high value markets or the luxury segment, you want to play on a bigger market where the supply is certainly bigger, right, to get return on your investment. Okay. It is still unclear on how big this digital nomad market is, with companies reinstating policies to get back to work.
Right. Okay, Trevor, we have a question. How will tracking change when cookies go away?
Oh, great question. It's obviously something very close to Sojern. I think I've got a slide in a second, but in a sense, cookies go away, it falls off a cliff in about 12, 13 months. We see the future as hashed emails, which kind of is going to replicate the same thing, but it's very much led from privacy rather than obviously sort of cookies moving away. So more on that in probably about 2 minutes.
All right, okay. And we have a question for you. Yeah. The majority of TikTok users are Gen Z. However, millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers are the one with higher spending power to travel. Is TikTok effective in attracting these groups of people?
Yeah, so TikTok is seeing multi-generational adoption as we speak, and we have extremely high growth both in millennials, not so much in Gen X, but we see very mature brands like even Yeoh participating on TikTok, even on hashtag challenges. So everybody wants to have fun across generations, and they are adopting TikTok.
All right, so we've seen the evolution of social media. I mean, you know, I believe it was 10 years ago when Melissa said, you know, all travel is social, but all social is not travel. But now it seems like the two worlds have just come together. And, you know, this is a new wave of social. How do you see this next wave of social media evolving? I mean, are you concerned about it? What do you see coming in the future?
Take each day as it comes. I think the one thing about digital, online, you guys didn't exist 10 years ago. It moves so quickly. One thing I found from airline background is 5 years, 10 years later, it's still very much the same thing. Walk away from sort of advertise on anything online in the digital world, you're now left behind very, very quickly. So it's just going to continue to shoot through as well. And the gentleman earlier was speaking about how payments can be done now by 1 cent anywhere. I'm like, I would have loved that 10 years ago. If I got, great, I'm going to sign you up. Thank you very much. So it's just going to continually evolve, and you just got to keep your finger on the pulse.
Right. I guess in Asia, the evolution is really into social commerce, right? Which we saw over the pandemic, live streaming, which is kind of an old form of TV advertising. So social commerce is really, you know, that's the evolution.
Brands want to be where people spend most time, right? And people want to be entertained, whether they want to be entertained while they travel or whether they want to entertain while they're shopping. So if you've heard about TikTok made me book it or TikTok made me buy it, it's a real movement, or it's a real community where people are actually engaging with short-form videos because of its highly entertaining nature. Right. They're spending time there, they're shopping there, and that's where marketers want to be.
Yeah, but do you, okay, entertaining is great, and I think we should keep our customers entertained and amused and all that. But we also have a responsibility to sort of, you know, inform travelers about how to travel better and all that. Do you see information as a good form of engagement on social media channels?
Yeah, of course. But then you've got to, can you believe what you read half the time? I think it's not regulated in a right enough manner. So it goes way off of my remit as well. But you've got to be careful what you're reading there, or your families or your kids.
Okay.
Yeah. For us, I think, yes, information. We've seen brands engaging with their associates, their employees, in training people through TikTok videos.
Okay.
passing informations, bite-sized, highly entertaining, but the idea is to give the right information at the right time. We have creators who specialize in travel tips during different saving money, different types of segments, and these are extremely engaging. This is extremely engaging content for the travelers, and we see a huge adoption in this type of content.
Right, so Trevor showed a picture of his, let's have that cute photo, and that's what you're concerned about in the new age of social. What's the next slide? Yeah, that you're worried about disinformation. How do you see your kids growing up in this next generation of social media?
I'm quite lucky. They're just about getting to the point where they start playing with iPads and phones. But again, one thing I'm doing now is speaking to my friends and colleagues who've got like kids in their 10-year-old or 15-year-olds as well, saying, what are you doing, how are you tracking them, and what are they doing as well? So I think it's one that we're becoming more aware as parents, what you're doing or what they're doing online as well, and especially sort of when you have companies like Sojern that have such a broad eye on what's happening in the universe as well, making sure that they don't just click on something when an ad pops up as well, make sure that they understand things like privacy first and how your data is going to be used as well.
Right. Actually, I'm curious, which is the youngest TikTok creator? Like, how old is the youngest TikTok creator? Would you know?
I don't have the information on that, but the platform basically has age restrictions between 13 and 17. These are considered minors.
Okay.
Above 17 is what we engage
17.
with.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Since we have short attention span this day, so we're going to do a rapid fire, okay? So old world, new world game. What's old world?
In about 12 months, cookies.
Tej, what's old world?
The pre-pandemic media plans. Business.
Goodbye, pandemic.
Yeah.
What should people keep from the old world?
Your first-party data, because it's going to help you reactivate and reach so many more people.
Tej?
Yeah, I would say lessons. You've done test and learn. You see what works for you, and the first-party data. That's
okay,
really
and
important.
that's both of you agree that that's what you need to
Absolutely,
embrace in the
definitely.
new world. Okay, but one thing they should do tomorrow to get ready for the new world, Trevor.
One thing I'm seeing a lot is you go, again, when I was doing the consulting, you could go in a company and they haven't got a data officer or somebody who's very senior to make the data decisions. A lot of companies are now approaching and hiring these now as well. And lovely big airline on another little dot in Asia is waiting to hire a very senior data officer to make sure that they understand the regulations behind their data as well. So for me, it's get yourself a chief data officer so they understand the legalities, but also what can you do with it? Can you monetize your data legally and easily? And of course, when cookies disappear, advertising drops off a cliff. What are you doing when that disappears? Because there's some companies that go, yeah, I've still got a year. It's okay. And others are going, no, I need to start building my foundations now.
It's interesting the new job titles that are coming in, right? Chief Sustainability Officer, Chief Data Officer, and somebody said yesterday, Chief Metaverse Officer. I want to be that Chief Metaverse Officer. What should they do tomorrow to get ready for the new world?
Engage with their communities, have a video-first mindset, and like I mentioned earlier, be flawsome, right? Doesn't have to be extremely curated.
Be flawsome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm so flawsome.
I can see that.
All right, please join me in thanking Tej and Trevor. Thank you so much. Thank you.